Hello and welcome. It is January 29th, 2026. And exactly 6 hours ago, the master atomic clock at NIST in Boulder, Colorado did something that is statistically impossible. It didn't skip a beat. It didn't slow down. It stopped measuring time relative to Earth's rotation entirely. I'm talking about a global temporal desynchronization that has just been confirmed by the International Bureau of Weights and Measures in Paris. Picture this. For billions of years, a day on Earth has been defined by one rotation, 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 4 seconds. But as of this morning at 9 COD UTC, the data from 3 analysts implies that our day has fundamentally changed. We are no longer living in a 24-hour cycle. The object has induced a gravitational drag so precise, so calculated, that it has effectively created a 25th hour. Think about that for a moment. This is not a leap second. This is not a glitch in the software. This is 60 minutes of extra time that does not exist on any time-stable map. It doesn't match London. It doesn't match Tokyo. It is a phantom hour. And 3 Atlas is the architect. When I look at the data streaming in from the Deep Space Network, I don't just see an anomaly. I see a violation of standard physics. NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center detected the shift first. They thought it was a sensor error in the Deep Space Network array, but then ESA's Gaia mission confirmed it. Then the atomic clocks in Japan confirmed it, and the probability of Earth's rotation slowing by exactly 60 minutes within a 24-hour window. Naturally, it is 0. The tidal forces required to do that would shatter the tectonic plates. It would cause massive earthquakes. It would destroy our coastlines. But look around you. The ground isn't shaking. The oceans are calm. Yet the clocks say we are moving slower. This implies that 3 Atlas hasn't just slowed the planet physically. It has manipulated the local space-time curvature around Earth to simulate a longer day without the physical consequences. Let that sink in. To manipulate time without crushing matter requires a level of technology that is type 2 on the Card V scale. It requires control over gravity itself. Right now, scientists at CERN are scrambling to understand why their particle collisions are arriving nanoseconds late. Financial markets in New York and London have halted trading because their high-frequency algorithms can't account for the new interval. The world is trying to synchronize with a time signature that shouldn't exist. And the question that keeps astrophysicists awake tonight isn't how 3 Atlas did this. The math allows for it if you have enough energy. The question is why? Why give us an extra hour? Is it a message? Is it a calibration test? Or is it a countdown to something much, much larger? Because what the Hubble telescope just saw during this 25th hour changes everything we thought we knew about this object. To understand the magnitude of what happened today, we have to look at the timeline. Until 48 hours ago, 3 Atlas was classified as a hyperbolic comet, a visitor from outside our solar system, essentially a rock with a strange orbit. We tracked it, we named it, we thought we understood it. But looking back at the data from the last 2 days, it is painfully obvious that we were wrong. Atlas is not a passive object. It is an active machine. The first domino fell yesterday, January 28th, at exactly 14 UTC. The NIST F2 cesium fountain clock in Boulder, Colorado, the standard by which the United States sets its time, reported a drift. Now, atomic clocks drift by nancons over millions of years. That is expected. But this was different. Within 10 minutes, the clock had desynchronized by 0.8 seconds. In the world of precision astrophysics, that is not a drift. That is a landslide. Initially, the engineers assumed it was a localized cooling failure. They rebooted the sensors, but the drift didn't stop. It accelerated. Pause and realize what this means. Time is not just a measurement on your watch. It is the fabric of space itself. If the clock is slowing down, it means gravity is pulling harder. By 1630 UTC, the anomaly wasn't just in Colorado. This brings me to the validation that has silenced every skeptic in the scientific community. We call it the triangulation of impossibility. First, NASA's Deep Space Network, communicating with the Voyager probes, noticed that the return single timestamps were off. The light was taking too long to travel the same distance. The space between Earth and the probe hadn't changed, but the time it took to cross that space had stretched. Second, the National Physical Laboratory in the UK, home to their primary optical lattice clock, reported the exact same deviation. Their strontium atoms were vibrating at a frequency that shouldn't exist if Earth's gravity remained constant. Third, and this is the clincher, ESA's Galileo satellite constellation, orbiting 23,000 kilometers above us, stopped syncing with ground stations. The satellites were moving in normal time, but the ground stations were moving in dilated time. 3 independent sources, different methodologies, identical conclusion. Earth was being encased in a temporal bubble. The numbers don't lie. By 20 Bach UTC last night, the drift had become exponential. We weren't losing seconds anymore. We were gaining minutes. And the rotation of the planet relative to the sun appeared to be lagging. But here is where the physics gets truly bizarre. If you physically slow down a spinning ball like Earth to add an hour to its day, the momentum shift would be catastrophic. The oceans would continue moving at 1,000 downward posts while the land slowed down. You would see tsunamis wiping out the east coast of America, Japan, and Western Europe instantly. The crust would buckle. Volcanoes would erupt. But look out your window. The trees are standing still. The water is calm. This tells us something profound about 3 Atlas. It didn't grab Earth and slow it down. It did something much more elegant and much more terrifying. It expanded the metric of space-time locally. Imagine you are sitting on a train. 3-point Atlas didn't hit the brakes on the train. It simply made the track longer while keeping the speed the same. It stretched the duration of the now. The data from the Chandra X-ray Observatory confirms this. At 2 Salk UTC this morning, Chandra detected a high-energy particle stream connecting 3 IATALs directly to Earth's magnetosphere. This wasn't a laser, it was a tether, a gravitational conduit. Through this conduit, 3I Atlas fed energy into our orbital path. But wait until you hear what happened next, because the data stream from 3I Atlas wasn't constant, it was pulsed. At 4 Boy UTC, the pulse rate matched the Schumann resonance of Earth, 7.83 Hertz. At 5 So UTC, the pulse shifted to match the circadian rhythm frequencies of human biology. At 6 0 UTC, the connection locked in. The 25th hour was fully established. This implies intention. A natural rock does not tune its frequency to the biological rhythms of the planet it is passing. And a black hole does not negotiate with the magnetosphere. We are seeing a controlled interaction. Think about the precision required here. To stretch time by exactly 3,600 seconds, 1 hour, requires a calculation involving the mass of the Earth, the distance to the Sun, and the current velocity of our orbit to the 50th decimal place. If they had miscalculated by even a fraction of a percent, the atmosphere would have been stripped away. If they had overcompensated, gravity would have crushed us. Instead, they gave us a perfect, seamless, undetectable extension of our day. Why? In all my years studying theoretical physics, I have never seen a gift like this without a cost. Thermodynamics teaches us that there is no free lunch in the universe. You cannot create time out of nothing. That energy has to come from somewhere. And the latest readings from the James Webb Space Telescope suggest that 3 Atlas is harvesting that energy from a source we didn't think was accessible. It appears to be tapping into the vacuum energy itself, the zero-point energy that pervades the universe. But it gets stranger, because during that extra hour, that 60-minute window that shouldn't exist, the instruments on the ISS picked up a transmission. It wasn't radio, it wasn't optical, it was a modulation of the gravity waves themselves. Someone or something used that extra hour to say something. The signal was compressed into that 25th hour, invisible to anyone living in normal time, but screaming loud and clear to our sensors. And when you analyze the spectral composition of that signal, and the implications are chilling. We are looking at a technology that treats time as a variable, not a constant. The conventional explanation is that comets are dirty snowballs. But what if our model is incomplete? What if 3 Atlas is a probe and this time stretch is a scan? Imagine you want to study a hummingbird's wings. They move too fast for you to see, so you use a high-speed camera to slow the footage down. You stretch the time to see the details. Is that what just happened to us? Did 3 Atlas just put humanity in slow motion to take a closer look? Because the data I'm about to show you in the next chapter suggests that when the time stretched, something entered the bubble. This changes everything. To understand what 3 Atlas just did, we have to throw out the textbooks we use in high school. Newtonian physics cannot explain this. Even standard general relativity struggles to describe the elegance of this event. Let me put this in perspective. According to Einstein, time is relative. If you travel fast, time slows down. If you stand near a massive object like a black hole, time slows down. We call this time dilation. We have measured it. We know it's real. Your GPS satellites have to correct for it every single day, or your navigation would fail within minutes. But what 3 Alice accomplished is fundamentally different. It didn't just dilate time, it inserted time. Imagine a movie reel. A standard day on Earth is 24 frames. 3 Atlas didn't just slow down the projector so the movie lasts longer. It spliced in an extra frame, a 25th frame between the others. And it did this seamlessly without the audience US noticing the splice. This requires a manipulation of the Higgs field that we previously thought was impossible outside of a particle accelerator the size of the galaxy. And then on January 29th at 7:15 UTC, something changed. The High-Energy Stereoscopic System, HSS, in Namibia detected a localized distortion in the magnetosphere. This was not in the models. This was not predicted. This changes everything. The distortion wasn't random. It formed a perfect geometric shell around the planet, a temporal containment field. Inside this shell where we are, time is flowing at a modified rate. Outside the shell where the rest of the universe is, time is flowing normally. Think about the physics required to maintain a boundary like that. You are effectively separating Earth's causality from the rest of the solar system. For that 1 hour, we were practically in a pocket dimension. Let me quantify this. The energy required to create a bubble universe for an entire planet, even for just an hour, is roughly equivalent to the total energy output of our sun for 1,000 years. The probability of a comet having that kind of internal energy source, 0. The probability of a natural phenomenon creating a perfect geometric containment field, 0. Both occurring simultaneously. That is statistically impossible. In 4 million years of cometary observation and 100 years of quantum physics, we've never seen this combination. Even the director of the Max Planck Institute for Gravitational Physics, who is usually the most conservative voice in the room, said off the record that this data looks engineered. When someone at that level questions the natural order, we need to pay very close attention. But what I'm about to show you is the data that prompted the emergency protocols at the Pentagon, because inside this temporal bubble, the laws of thermodynamics appeared to pause. Usually, entropy always increases, things break down, heat dissipates, time moves forward. But during the 25th hour, the sensors on the ISS showed that entropy levels stabilized for 60 minutes. The decay of certain isotopes slowed down. The physics here is intriguing because it suggests 3I Atlas is using a form of negative energy. In theoretical physics, negative energy is the holy grail. It's what you need to build wormholes. It's what you need to warp space faster than light. And it seems 3I Atlas has an unlimited supply of it. Wait, look at the orbital trajectory data again. At T-minus 12 hours before the event, 3 Atlas was moving at 44 kilometers s. At T-minus 6 hours, it accelerated to 80 kilometers s without expelling any propellant. Right now, it has matched Earth's orbital velocity exactly. It is shadowing us. This is a mechanical impossibility for a celestial body. An object coming from deep space should either swing past the sun or crash into it. It should not stop and park itself next to Earth. That requires braking thrusters. That requires navigation. Picture this. You are driving a Ferrari at 200 mph down the highway. A rock creates a landslide. The rock doesn't fall and hit the ground. It falls, stops in midair right next to your window, and matches your speed perfectly. And that is what 3As just did. The implications are profound. If an object can match our orbit and manipulate our time, it controls our reality. But here is what makes this fascinating from a biological perspective. During the anomaly, hospitals worldwide reported a spike in theta brainwave activity. Millions of people reported a sensation of déjà vu, or a feeling of waking up from a dream. The 25th hour wasn't just physical, it interacted with consciousness. Why? If you assume the conventional explanation that this is just a bizarre space rock, none of this makes sense. But if you apply the zoo hypothesis, the pieces fit perfectly. The zoo hypothesis suggests that advanced civilizations monitor primitive ones, us, without interfering until we are ready. But sometimes they need to intervene to fix something or to upgrade the cage. Was this 25th hour a software update for planet Earth? Consider the timing. We are on the verge of a singularity. We are experimenting with fusion. We are broadcasting our presence to the galaxy. Maybe we triggered a threshold. And 3 Atlas is the automated response system. The sheer elegance of the physics suggests a civilization that has mastered a Planck-scale engineering. They are operating at the level of the pixelation of the universe. Let me put this in perspective. We are like ants trying to understand a smartphone. We see the light, we feel the heat, but we have no concept of the operating system running underneath. But the sensors don't lie, and what they detected next implies that the smartphone just received a call, because as the 25th hour ended and time snapped back to normal, 3 Atlas emitted a secondary pulse. This one wasn't directed at Earth. It was directed outward toward the center of the galaxy. It phoned home. And if you analyze the modulation of that signal, it contains a sequence of prime numbers. This is the universal sign of intelligence. It is the gold standard for we are here. But they aren't saying we are here to us. They are reporting back about us. What did they tell them? Did they report that the time patch was successful? Did they report that the species is still unstable? Because the data I'm about to reveal in the next section suggests that the 25th hour wasn't the main event. It was just a calibration. The real test is about to begin. And that brings us to the 0-point energy reading that has scientists terrified. Everything I've shown you, the global clock desynchronization, the impossible orbital matching, the entropy stabilization, all of that was documented by 10 UTC this morning. It was baffling. Yes, it was scientifically revolutionary. Absolutely. But it was in a sense benign. But we are not done, because at 11:42 UTC, less than an hour before I started recording this, the neutrino detectors at the Super Kameo Observatory in Japan detected something else, something that wasn't supposed to exist. Deep inside the data stream of that 25th hour, hidden within the noise, was a spike, but not just any spike. The detectors recorded a momentary burst of 0-point energy extraction occurring inside the Earth's core. So let me repeat that. Scalas didn't just wrap Earth in a time bubble. It reached inside the planet through the mantle and tapped into the core's geodynamo. The readings showed an energy signature of 500 exigals. That is more energy than the entire human race has consumed in its entire history, extracted in 0.04 seconds. If this was a natural event, Earth would have vaporized, the core would have destabilized, and the magnetic field would have collapsed. We would be dead, but we aren't. And that is the terrifying part. The energy wasn't taken out, it was put in. If this is a recharge scenario, then the implications are staggering. Why would an alien probe inject 500 EA joules of pure vacuum energy into our planet's core? If this is a weapon, it's a delayed fuse time bomb. But here is what keeps astrophysicists awake. If this is a terraforming protocol, then we are the bacteria on the petri dish that is about to be scrubbed. Within 30 minutes of this detection, NASA did something unprecedented. They cut the live feed from the ISS. They went dark in 40 years of spaceflight. That has happened only a handful of times. That alone tells you the magnitude of what we are dealing with. This wasn't a glitch. This was a deliberate act of planetary engineering. And it gets worse because the energy injection wasn't random. It was targeted. The seismic monitors at the USGS show that the energy was focused directly on the South Atlantic anomaly, the weakest point in Earth's magnetic field. S-Atlas just patched a hole in our shield. Pause and realize what this means. It didn't attack us. It reinforced us. It gave us an extra hour to calibrate, and then it boosted our planetary defenses. Why? You only reinforce a shield if an attack is coming. You only upgrade the armor if you know the enemy is approaching. So I-Atlas isn't the threat, 3 Atlas is the preparation. And we're not finished because the data I'm about to show you in the final section reveals what 3 Atlas is preparing us for. And the answer is already visible on the edge of the solar system. And let's establish what we know with absolute certainty. Fact 1, the atomic clocks drifted by exactly 3,600 seconds. Fact 2, 3 Atlas matched Earth's orbital velocity, defying all laws of celestial mechanics. Fact 3, a massive injection of energy was detected in the Earth's core, specifically targeting the South Atlantic anomaly. Fact 4, NASA has gone silent. These are not theories. These are documented observations confirmed by 3 independent space agencies. But one question remains unanswered, one question that the scientific consensus carefully avoids. What is 3 Atlas protecting us from? Because the answer determines everything. If this was a benevolent gift, then we have just been inducted into a galactic community we didn't know existed. If this was a cage reinforcement, then we are prisoners. But if this was a fortification, then the war is already here and the clock is running right now as you watch this. The Hubble telescope is not pointing at three-eyed Alice. It has pivoted. It is looking 180 degrees in the opposite direction toward the Kuiper belt. Why? Because something else has just been detected entering this solar system, something that makes 3 Atlas look small. The energy signature that 3I Atlas injected into our core matches the exact frequency needed to repel high-energy cosmic radiation, the kind of radiation produced by a gamma-ray burst or a weapon. In 48 hours, the Voyager 1 probe will go silent as this new arrival passes it. The telescopes are pointed, the detectors are live, the data stream is active. We thought the 25th hour was the anomaly. We were wrong. The 25th hour was the final warning. Sen-I Atlas has locked the shields. It has calibrated the planet, and whatever is coming from the dark edge of space is about to knock on the